Hey guys, welcome back to Woods Tree Farm. I'm Phil. On the way to the farm today, my 2018 Nissan Titan XD turned 100,000 miles. Doesn't look too bad for, what are we at? Almost 7 years old, 100,000 miles. Starting to get some bumps and bruises though from the firewood business. Firewood is certainly hard on a truck. I think for this upcoming winter, I'm going to look for another delivery vehicle, like an old, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 beater truck that we can be a little bit harder on, because I want to keep this truck for a few more years, and it is going to take a beating. This is also my daily driver. It's also a family vehicle, so we want to try to keep it a little bit nicer for a little while. My son plays tennis. The local tennis club refreshes their clay courts every year, and the product comes on pallets. So now they know I always need pallets. I think this is my third year in a row getting pallets from them. So I can count on them for at least a dozen or so pallets every year. This time I got 16 from them, and that's great because I go through a lot of pallets here. The pallets that are in contact with the ground rot pretty quickly, and I probably put at least 10, 15 pallets a year in a burn pile because they're just too far gone. I can't use them anymore for firewood, but I'll get at least 2 or 3 seasons out of every single pallet, but I constantly need to have a rotation of fresh pallets in here. We need to put some more pallets down on the ground to get this moving off in that direction. We've got a bunch of wood bucked up. Over the weekend, my part-time employee and myself bucked up a bunch of wood, so I need to work on carting some of that over here today, and I'm also going to buck up some more wood, and he's going to be able to come tomorrow, and I'm not going to be here, so I'm going to stage a bunch of wood right here for him to split, and he can throw it directly on the pile for the couple hours that he's able to put in tomorrow. So that'll be great to keep this bin growing. And I've got about, I think I showed you guys before, and I said about 20 more feet. We're going to expand that bin off in this direction. The grass gets tall over here. We got to clean this up. I've got some old wood on the ground that I've got to clean up, and then my sawmill is right here. So I can't really block this if I'm going to keep it here, which I am for the short term. And I have some stuff that I want to mill as well. So we can't bring that bin over too far, or we're going to obstruct our ability to get logs on the mill. But in the meantime, there's still room for like easily 6 or 7 more cords of wood in here before we have to worry about how far we go with it. I think if I bring a couple more loads like that over, that ought to keep my employee busy for a little bit. And I've also got the tractor carryall right here, which I need to swap. The tiller is still on the tractor from when we were planting trees, and I can put that on, bring a load over, bring the splitter over, he'll be ready to work. So I mentioned there's something kind of keeping me up at night. It's not really that big a deal. I'm not stressing that much about it, but many of you know last year I set some big goals for the firewood business for this year, and I want to do over $100,000 in total revenue. And we are now into April. This is when the season starts to slow down. I went back in the last couple of years and looked, and I've never done more than $3,500 in revenue in May, June, July, August combined. So The big difference this year, though, is that I will actually have inventory. I've never really had that much inventory before. So I've got the kiln dried wood. I've got stuff coming out of my own solar kiln. And as we approach August, I'll have more wood available, more than I've ever had before. So I can't really look at the past year's performance that much, though I can definitely look at the past year's performance and tell that business has slowed down. Exactly how much demand can I expect during the summer months? I don't know, but my expectations are relatively low. The good news is January, February, March this year, the first quarter of this year, I've already done more revenue than I did all of last year, the entire 12 months. So the big difference again is that I had inventory. Past years, I always ran out in the late fall, early winter, midwinter maybe. And last year, once I had my solar kiln built, I could start to churn out a little bit of dry wood every few weeks, every 4 to 6 weeks or so. But that's only 2 cords every batch. So it's not a lot of wood. It's not a lot of revenue. And now that I actually have a little bit more wood stockpiled and I have a go-to source for either seasoned or kiln dried wood, and I can bring that in, yes, it's at a lower margin, but if the demand is there, I can sell that wood immediately and not wait for my own inventory. But yeah, I'm still concerned given that there are 9 months left in this year, less than 9 months because we're into April. The amount of revenue that I'll need to do month in, month out in order to get to that $100,000 goal is significant. I would need to do more every single month, the remaining months of this year, than I have ever done in any single month in my firewood business's history. So that goal, every week that goes by where I have kind of minimal sales as the weather gets warmer right now and the demand has decreased and sales volume has gone down, I'm kind of looking at that count of how many weeks are left in the year and how much revenue per week do I need to obtain in order to hit that goal. And every day, every week, that necessary revenue goes up and up and up and up in order to reach that goal. So that goal every day, every week is getting further and further and further out of reach. So that's kind of what's keeping me up at night. I am thinking of new ways, as I always do, to try to drum up some more business. And I'm looking at putting out maybe a couple more firewood stands. I'm looking once again at doing bundle sales on a wholesale level to convenience stores and that kind of stuff. But again, their demand for their sales is going to go down as well during the warmer months. So I need to get out there literally like right now in the next 2 weeks in order to try to capture whatever I think I can capture before the summer heat comes in and before the demand really dries up. So I've got my eyes on 2 more sites for firewood stands. I'm trying to make contact with those property owners so that I can see if they are open to it, and if so, we'll get those stands built as quickly as we can. I know exactly what kind of dimensions and everything I need to do now based on the last one that I built. I really like the way that one turned out. I'm going to make just a couple modifications to it though, but still, I won't spend nearly as much time on the build as I did on the last one because I know exactly how it needs to come together. The last one I kind of just built on the fly with no real plan written down on paper. The barbecue market is another market that's kind of year-round. It is really just picking up right now. I have sold a bunch of bags of barbecue wood here in the last couple weeks, and my inventory of barbecue wood is quickly dwindling. So I need to also put some energy into that product if I want to continue to have barbecue wood, pizza wood, that kind of stuff, that revenue coming in over the warmer months. I think that's a good year-round business, and if I can ensure that I never really run out of that product, I think I can get a good consistent revenue stream from barbecue wood. So those are a couple of the things that I got going on. I will keep you guys posted in the next couple of weeks how that all shakes out. On top of that, I do have some equipment demos coming up. I hinted on that in the last video. Hopefully the Typhoon processor gets here literally like any day now, and we can start playing around with that. I've got possibly another split force machine coming to the lot that we can play with, and just some other really cool stuff, possibly a smaller consumer grade log splitter that we can tinker around with. So I really like doing the equipment demo videos because it gives me just a little bit more experience with some different machines. It gives you guys a little bit of insight into some of the other options that are out there on the market, maybe some additional considerations as you're evaluating what's on the market. So I really am going to continue to pursue those kinds of things, and on top of that, the videos do well, quite frankly. And if I want the channel to grow, I need to focus on the content that gets the more views, and the equipment videos get more views on average than many other things. So I need to continue to focus on that. So those are some of the things that you can expect here in the next few weeks. Right now though, I'm going to get back to work. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye.